What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bro Tech Gaming Podcast. My name is Carlos. This is Sean, and we are back with episode 8 of The Last of Us titled When We Are in Need. What did you
Yes.
think?
This was a good episode. So if anybody at all felt like the last two were kind of filler-ish episodes, this one definitely makes up for it, 100%. This was definitely not a filler episode. I think where it shined, it definitely gave the people what they wanted. Um, just another good representation of the game and how they adapted it. I thought it was a good overall episode.
Yeah, I'm with you too, and I'm happy it was a good episode because I was telling everybody that the last two episodes are going to be really good.
They gotta
So
be, man. They gotta bring it home now.
yeah,
So
so I'm glad they didn't let me down on that.
yeah, yeah. A lot of interesting parallels. So with the way the episode starts, we got a little bit of a snapshot of what David's community is like. He's talking to like the people in the town, like he's doing like a little sermon or something you want to call it. Kind of like a preacher or a pastor that he kind of self-proclaims himself to be. So we didn't really have a lot of that in the game. We didn't really get to see how the town functions as a whole. So you get a pretty good understanding of what David's character is like, who he is. Like you think he's a good guy, you think he's a nice guy. Oh, we know better than that. But yeah, you were kind of saying earlier that you were kind of concerned when it showed that part first, right?
Yeah, just because of how The Last of Us has gone into other characters' stories, like they go into like deep dives with them. So kind of like what they did with Bill and like his whole backstory. I was kind of worried that they were gonna do that because they started off the show like that with him, talking to all the people, and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
are they gonna follow him and like his people for like half of the show to kind of make you feel something for them?
Yeah. Yeah, we got a whole backstory on David.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm tired of backstories. Give me the front story.
Before the apocalypse, David was a teacher.
Yeah, that was weird. Like I didn't care,
Yeah.
but
Everything else felt pretty accurate too, from that point forward, like once they diverted from that. Um, like when Ellie sets out to go hunting, we got to see the rabbit, but she didn't get a rabbit. So I thought that was kind of cool that they put that in the show. I think all the PETA people would have been like, "Oh no!" But the rabbit got away. But then she does end up snagging herself a deer, which is when she runs into David and James for the first time. So that first confrontation was cool. I thought the dialogue between them was really good. I really like Ellie's character at this point of the show. Like she's definitely like really tough. She definitely doesn't take any shit from anybody. Like as soon as she rolled up on them looking at the deer, she just had like the gun up and ready to go and just like, put your guns down. I'll shoot you between the eyes. And she was just being such a little badass while she was talking to David and James.
yeah, I was kind of
Thought
laughing
that
because
part was
she like changed her voice, like she did
good.
it deeper. I was like, what the hell?
She's trying to make her voice sound a lot more deeper and intimidating, which is I think that was intentional. I think it was intentional that she did that.
Yeah,
Um, And I guess that's where it was different from the game because, in the game, you have a rush of infected that go after Ellie and David while Joel goes back, or not Joel, sorry, not Joel, James, which James is played by Troy Baker, who does the voice of Joel. So it's a little confusing for me. Um, but we didn't get to see any infected rush in and have like David and Ellie kind of like fight them off. So we didn't get that in the episode. But I
yeah.
guess I guess it is what it is.
We actually didn't get any infected in this episode.
Not at all. They teased it though too because when she saw the deer for the first time, it had like the clicker sound. Like you thought maybe there'd be a clicker. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool if she takes out a clicker with the rifle, but it was just the deer. So
Yeah, still
yeah,
hoping for more
yeah.
infected, but maybe I think the last episode, if you watch the next week's episode,
Mhm.
I think they have like an infected kind of like it was like crawling towards you or something like that. It looked pretty cool.
I think it's gonna be for when Ellie's mom is pregnant with her. This might kind of explain how Ellie potentially is immune to the virus. Maybe it has something to do with like her mom getting attacked by an infected while she's pregnant. I don't know. That's just
Oh,
speculation,
like
but
Blade.
it could happen that way. Um, but yeah, from there on, the show was pretty much beat for beat with how the game was. They showed another scene where David goes back to his encampment and like he's serving people food, and it's the first time you kind of see the darker side of him when he like backhands that little girl across the face. But then they all start eating, and like the whole time I'm thinking like, are they actually eating venison or not? Because like we kind of already know the backstory. Um, but like what I thought was really funny was when all of them like start to eat, like everybody's got these like tiny little like portions on their plate, and like David's portion is fucking huge. Like it takes up the entire plate. I'm like, damn, this dude be eating good while everybody else is starving at the same time.
Yeah,
I
I
thought that
noticed
was
that
kind of
too.
funny. Yeah, yeah. Um, but then yeah, eventually we get back to Joel and Ellie again. Ellie's caring for Joel. Then she hears them come up, or she hears all of David's group come up. Then she tries to like steer them away with the horse, and then that's when the horse gets shot by James, and she does like this big old like super somersault like off the horse.
Yeah, that looked pretty
So hopefully
crazy.
no real horses were harmed in the filming of the episode.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that like the way she fell off the horse, because she just went like straight forward and just like slid. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, dude, she face planted. Like they kind of like jacked her up in this episode. So I almost say more so than how she is in the game. I feel like the game she's almost a little bit more superhuman. So they kind of messed up Bella Ramsey pretty good in this episode. Um, but yeah, so we find Ellie again when she wakes up from getting tossed off the horse. Like she's locked up in like their little kitchen area in that little cage, and then it bounces back and forth between Joel. Joel wakes up, gets this the surprise on like the two dudes, and then we get that interrogation scene that was from the game. I thought that scene was pretty good. I almost feel like the Pedro version was better than the game version. It's kind of hard. It's hard when they do like an accurate adaptation from the game, because then I'm choosing like, well, which one do I like better? Do I like the game better or do I like the show better? And I think I liked Pedro Pascal's version a little bit more than the game version in this scene. So
Yeah, I liked
yeah.
his scene, the interrogation scene, just because like it looked like he was actually in pain, like more pain than he was in the game. Cause I don't think
Mhm.
was the interrogation scene like the same, like he was still hurt and he was recovering and he did the interrogation to go find Ellie. I don't remember if it was the same.
A little bit, yeah. So I remember when he like after he stabs like the one dude in the knee, like he's kind of like gripping his side for a little bit. And I do remember in the game it was kind of like that too. So that was all really accurate. Um, and then basically we go back to Ellie again from there, and then it's like Ellie and David talking. And then that's the part where she sort of manages to like break his finger and like piss him off, and they're having like a weird conversation. I think David in the show way way more creepier than David in the game though. Like David in the game was kind of like weird, but dude, he was a creeper in the show. Like there was something definitely like weird about him in the show, almost like rapey in a weird way. Like trying to like hold Ellie's hand and like convince her like, oh, like the cordyceps are all about love and repopulating. It's like, you trying to make babies with Ellie? Like, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I did get that kind of vibe, especially towards the end. But yeah, I think they had to
Mhm.
amplify his creepiness just because of that short amount of time that they had with him on the show. Because in the game, I feel like it was like a longer segment with him. He probably got like more fleshed out, I guess, in the game. So in the show, they kind of had to speed through that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I felt like he was super creepy. Also, I kind of didn't buy that she broke his finger just by like in the bars and she just like pulled it up. Like I don't know, I didn't really buy it.
Yeah, they probably could have done a little bit better. Like, I think she broke like what his two like pinky fingers. So she just kind of like grabbed him and then like used one hand as leverage and then just like popped the other one back. So I don't know. It's probably not that severe. Maybe like dislocated it or something, but it was definitely enough to piss him off. Um, and then we get the part where they pull her on the table and she tells them that she's infected. I thought that scene played out really well. Pretty much like exactly like the game. She takes the cleaver and like smacks James in the side of the head with a cleaver, and he's just like blood's like gushing out all over the place. And then we get the part in the restaurant where like David's like talking to Ellie, and she's kind of like stalking her like through the restaurant. That was pretty much exactly the same as the game too. I thought that was all really good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. For that, the whole like restaurant scene, I feel like the game did it way better, just because you get more of that.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, it was more of a set piece in the game because it was basically like a boss fight.
yeah, and the way that the fire starts is different too, because in the show she got like a log and like threw it at him and it hit the wall and it kind of just like had the wall start to catch on fire.
Yeah.
I know in the game I think like he walked in the door or something and like a lamp fell over like onto like a drape or something and then the wall started to catch on fire. So it's kind of the same but different.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like either one it works out the same way. I do like that we went straight from like that back kitchen area where they're hacking up people. I do like when we went from that to the restaurant. That was more fluid to me. Whereas in the game, like Ellie like jumps out a window, and there's like a whole section of her like taking out a bunch of the people in the town, and then she walks into a restaurant and gets surprised by David. So I like there was a little bit more fluidity in the show because it just made more sense that way. Um, I would have liked to have seen more like blood on her face after she just got done like hacking him up like crazy. Because I feel like in the game Ellie was a lot more bloodied up. Um, Otherwise, I think it all played out fine. Like I like Joel finding her outside of the restaurant. I feel like that makes more sense because if David really locked up the restaurant, like it kind of made no sense in the game that Joel all of a sudden just like shows up like inside. Like how'd you get inside, dude? Like everything was locked. So I like that they changed the pace a little bit that way.
Yeah, I was
But
actually expecting for it to go in the game how she's like hacking him and then like Joe comes and like stops her, but like she kind
yeah,
of stopped herself and then she was still like in shock like walking outside, and I was
yeah,
like, okay, now Joel's gonna come and find her.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
So
so that's pretty much the episode. All right, so we'll do our ratings if you want to go first.
so I'm actually gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Um, Only reason is because once again, no infected. We had infected in the game, and then we had a couple more segments in the game where, they had more action sequences, which it makes sense. It shows that this isn't technically an action show; it's more of a drama. I like more conflict. I like more confrontation. So that's the reason why I give it an 8 out of 10. But it's still probably one of my favorite episodes so far. Maybe it's like top three. It might be like in the top three of my favorite episodes of the season.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm gonna give it a 9. I thought the episode was really good. I felt like it stayed really true to the game. Interrogation was probably like one of my favorite parts.
Mhm.
The restaurant was another one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Like seeing Joel like walk into that slaughterhouse and seeing like the people hanging upside down, like skinned. That
Oh
was that
yeah,
was a cool
that was
scene too.
cool. That was a cool scene. Yeah, that's kind of when you really realize too, like, damn, these are actually hacking up people. They are cannibals.
Yeah, like they're not playing around.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was still a really good episode for me, despite some of the minor things. Probably like my favorite episode so far of Bella Ramsey and just her acting ability. Like it was really like pulling on my heartstrings, just like seeing her go through all the trauma that she went through in that whole episode. So props to her in the episode for sure, and props to Troy Baker, uh, Joel, the voice of Joel himself, for having a part in getting cleaved in the side of the neck.
Yeah, it was really cool to see him. I was trying to like listen to his voice to see if I can hear like a little bit of like Joel coming out, but I didn't
There
really
was
hear it.
though. There's a little bit. I feel like there's a little bit of it there. I was just like, oh well, that's coming out. You got a little bit of that southern drawl coming out of there.
Yeah, I wanted it like I don't know. I wanted like a whole like sentence of it or something, you know,
Yeah.
just to get people like, hey, is that him? Like, you know,
Yeah.
if they didn't
Yeah.
know.
That would have been funny. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's it. Yeah, that's basically our review on the episode, guys. Thank you for listening in. Next week we have the season finale. So we'll see how me and Carlos will figure out how we get that one put out on time. Like I might not have access to the episode right away, so we'll work through it. But one more episode left, and we got the whole season. So excited for that.
Yes. If you guys don't know, we do one of these reviews for every episode, so you can check it out on the channel. 1 through 9 is going to be up if you're watching this one, so go ahead and check them out and get ready for episode 1 through 8. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
episodes one through 8, and then episode 9 will be next week.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sticking with us through this whole season, for the ups and downs, and you know, home stretch one more, and it's gonna be epic. Thank you guys for watching. Check us out next week on the finale, the finale. Jesus Christ, bro.
We're stroking out.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week on the finale of The Last of Us. Thank you guys
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.